Take comments from the public on the Forks Area Trails Club application to allow ATV access on the Lake Moxie Road.
So, Mr. Chair, I would just kind of put this in context, but so that if people here make comment, they know what you have before you. So in your packets, you have the applications from the Lake Moxie ATV Club. And they are an official club, and they made the application to you, the commissioners, to allow access to a portion of that road that's under the county's purview. We also have a map that Dave provided that has the dots on it, the little red squares, little yellow dots that indicate camps and houses along this road. You have something that was reviewed back in September as far as ATV access group criteria, safety, need, the impact on property owners, that sort of thing. When Ben Toll, who was the head of the Lake Moxie ATV Club, when he initially put in the application, he also provided an email, and I added that in. At a meeting back in September, you had one of the assessors from he provided data from a meeting that was held where the town of the Forks agreed to access to their portions. Included some emails that were received back in favor of making comment again, access, and then the packets for folks who are concerned about safety in regards to this. So, trying to give you as much context, I realize we have one new commissioner that wasn't here when this started. And I did receive 2 emails this week prior to the meeting from folks who couldn't be in attendance. I put those on your desks there, as well as an email from Mr. Chuck Peabody expressing his concerns, and an email from Ms. Diane Jackson expressing concerns. So with that, I believe you're, and I would ask anybody that wants to comment to kind of stand up and be ready at this desk.
Thank you. Would you state your name and where you live, please?
Ben Toll. I live in Faircount, Maine. I'm the president of the Lake Moxie ATV Club. I wrote the letter kind of summarizing the request, and I wanted to just kind of summarize that here and add some more context to that. Give you a little background on how this started. The landowners, camp owners on the Lake Moxie Road and surrounding areas went to the town to ask for permission to utilize the road as an access route. The town then, in turn, contacted the club for reference and clarity and help with navigating this request. During that time, we looked at a lot of different, tried to understand what all the needs and uses. And first off, I will say that this is not a replacement for the trail system that's there. This is primarily focused for the people who live on this road to have access to the trail system that's there that they currently do not have access to, and to create a shorter route for the neighboring communities, whether it be Airbnb owners, businesses, landowners, to be able to access in-town amenities. From an economic standpoint, the club feels that this is a bolster for the businesses in town. I do want to note that I do not have a dog in this fight. I don't have any businesses that are affected by this. As a matter of fact, the business that I have in Caratunk, I do not have ATV access to. And I think, obviously, safety is a major concern for all of us. But one thing I would say is that this road is already being utilized by many people on this road in surrounding areas, because the trail runs kind of parallel to the road. The trail takes some meandering paths, goes down some power lines, so it's got some aggressive nature to it. those things can always be improved, but it doesn't take away the access concerns that people have on the road. And from a safety perspective, since so many people are already utilizing the road regardless, there's no signage, there's no speed limit, so people are driving faster than they should be not to get caught. And I don't think there's been any way to really police that. So increasing visibility, I think, makes it a little safer for everybody to access. I think that, another thing from a safety perspective is that ATVs and side-by-sides, they've come a long way from what they were 20 years ago. They are traveling with the speed of traffic, and the idea of this would be to travel at the posted speed limits in the flow of traffic, so they're not creating any kind of go around where somebody's on the side of the road where another vehicle has to go around them and impede oncoming traffic. It'd be with the flow of traffic. Not much different than if it was a motorcycle on the road or even a bicyclist on the road. I did reach out to the Warden Service and talk to some state officials about some other areas. We have thousands of miles of shared ATV access in the state of Maine on public roads. They do not have a mechanism for recording all of the data of what is for accidents and whatnot, but they do say that an overwhelming amount that they know is on areas that they're not approved access roads. And generally it's because people are, again, going too fast. They're trying to get from point A to point B without being caught on an illegal route. With that said, the club stands firm on support of this, and I do think it would be a good economic boon for the community to have additional traffic for businesses. And I think it also creates kind of a standard that we're open for ATV traffic. We want to attract more of that type of economic development, and that's it for me. If there's any questions, please let me know. Thanks.
What's the current speed limit on that section?
It's 35 and 45. Most of it is 35. There's I think it's a mile and a half section that's 45.
All ATVs and side-by-sides are not created equal,
Correct.
right? So I guess one of the concerns for me would be, I know my ATV would not be good to be riding 45 miles an hour with the tires that I have on it, because they're not designed to do 45 on a paved road. How would you police that for safety? What would you recommend?
I don't have a recommendation for that. I know that enforcement goes to the jurisdiction of the local sheriff's department, and I think there would have to be something developed for safety to kind of come up with some rules and regulations. But I don't know how that can be enforced unless we created a town ordinance that this is what is required for usage to pass across this road.
And then, right, and then how do you police that? What would be how popular would the idea of reducing the speed limit greatly in that area?
I think I would recommend reducing the speed limit overall for everybody, so everybody still flows with the flow of traffic. But that would kind of create everything on an even playing field. So if the whole thing was 35 miles an hour, it would certainly be more palatable to me from a safety concern. And I think that this should also be a curfew, and this should be a very strict trial period. So it's heavily monitored and heavily scrutinized too. So if people are not following the rules, but awareness and signage is key. One other thing about the liability aspect, my understanding from talking to Andrew Smart, who is the landowner relations corporal, is that if there's an accident that happens with a motor vehicle, it is the motor vehiclist insurance that covers their own vehicle damage, and it's up to them to go after the other party if they cause damage.
Yep, go on.
Tim, who makes the decision on 45-35 on that road? Is that state of Maine? So we wouldn't have.
Petition the DOT. They make a decision.
Okay. At the end, I'd like to have Sheriff Lancaster give us what your recommendation would be on that.
I agree. If we're going to allow ATVs, the 35 would be much more the higher speeds, we're going to have, you're going to have more crashes.
Severe.
Yeah, and the crashes will be more catastrophic as far as injury. If we go that way, I would recommend petitioning the state of Maine to lower it to all 35.
And from an insurance standpoint in the state of Maine, ATVs do not have to have insurance. Cars do. And they do not have to carry liability. They can carry only physical damage to the ATV. So that if I'm an ATV owner with a 2025 ATV, I insure it because I have a bank loan on it. I only have the insurance for the vehicle. I can buy just the insurance for the vehicle and not liability. So my bank is covered to suffice that loan. There is an opening there of if I hit another vehicle, that vehicle now has to utilize their insurance and subrogate or sue essentially the ATV owner. And if there's nothing there, it falls on the consumer of the car.
Would that go to
ATV rider.
would that go to the homeowner insurance?
It would not. The ATV would not be, unless it's on their property. So no. If someone was on their yard driving around and the car came off, possibly, but no, on a roadway, it would not be on a homeowner's policy. It's only designed for homeowner's liability in the sense of maintenance or use of that property.
Go. Scott?
Essentially, with things like this, there's always risk. And I know this is not 5 miles active. And I know in my own township, we had ATV access. But the abuse going beyond those access points is over the top. How do we monitor that when we really don't have a situation where the sheriff's department and the sheriff and the police monitor and help maintain those types of things from happening as well as the other things because people are going to abuse. They do. So, and I mean, when I say abuse, they're going several miles beyond these access. Yeah. So, things to consider. I mean, you know, and I don't see it to be available coverage to monitor something like that.
No, and that's and I think ideally the way that club grant some other mechanism. I know there is on the warden side of things that we can kind of hire a warden. So on busy times of the season, we can have checkpoints set up and fund that. I don't know if there's any mechanism for the sheriff department that we could also do that. We could look into for additional enforcement, but it would behoove us to have additional enforcement in the area when the season is open.
I have a couple of questions. First of all, so your solution to the insurance problem is just to have motorists driving their cars just rely on their uninsured motorist provisions if there's an accident is caused by an ATV driver?
That's currently how the law is written, and I can read specifically.
No, you don't have to read anything.
Oh, okay.
Do you know the answer to that question?
Yes, yeah, that's how it's handled currently. Rated.
Because you agree with me that you do not need liability insurance for your ATV.
That's
Am I right on that?
You're correct, but
Okay.
it's not uninsured motorist.
That's right.
Well, it's something like it.
Well, that's liability, but the damage
Yeah,
to your vehicle
right.
would be your deductible.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Good point. Thank you. So, one thing is, what you're suggesting is not, I mean, typically we see ATV access, keep to the side of the road, go 15 miles an hour, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But what you're suggesting here is that you just get right out in the flow of traffic and go
And yeah,
full speed. Is that right?
correct. And actually, the state is now recommending at the for the Department of Conservation that all access routes are that way, and they prefer to be in the flow of
So you're telling us that the state is now advocating that ATVs just be indivisible from the regular flow of traffic?
Yes, they prefer to be in the flow of traffic. If it's going to happen to be in the flow of traffic, it's
Is
less.
that a matter of statute or someone?
No,
First time ever.
it's just what they prefer. So most of the access roads that I've been on, like Greenville is a good example that goes through town on all the way from
So,
both ends of town.
so
town.
the other question I have is, so an ATV is sort of it's a recreational vehicle, and the original idea was that you would go through the woods and fields of Maine on established routes, enjoying nature, camaraderie with your friends, and things like
Correct.
So, and there is a trail that parallels the road, although it kind of goes up and down and around.
Sorry.
So the people that would actually be benefiting from this ATV access on the Moxie Pond Road, are they just, as I understand it, they're just trying to get into town on it, or why don't they just drive their car? I guess that's what
I think that, so good question. I think that it's in a recreational based town, the different type of recreational vehicles you can drive to get from point A to point B helps decide what you're going to do that day. So example, if it's a nice day out, I may or may not want to drive to a local restaurant in my vehicle just because it's not fun, it's not exciting. But I might take my motorcycle out as an extra trip in town. And being that this town is very much suited for transient recreationalists, and this particular road has a lot of camps and access in the surrounding areas. So the Troutdale Road, the Shirley Tote Road, all those areas that connect directly to the Lake Moxie Road, there's a lot of traffic that they want to just go into town quickly, get something to eat, go back out without doing a full trail run.
Troutdale Road approved for ATV access?
The part of the Troutdale Road is approved for ATV access. We're in the works of getting it onto the corridor when that's fully finished, but part of the Troutdale Road, and there's an association on the Troutdale Road that allows the camp owners to have access on the Troutdale Road, but won't be open to the general public. In this
It sounds to me like more of an argument to just basically recharacterize ATVs as motor vehicles so that people can drive along the roads as they see fit.
And I think that's probably where the state is going to go at some point. And I think, like insurance, that's going to be an issue at some point where they're going to have to address as more and more roads are opened up for ATVs and more recreational vehicles are out there and become larger and bigger. They're going to have to.
Would you need a motor vehicle license to drive your ATV on the Moxie Pond Road?
You do not. You have to be 16 years of age to operate on.
But you don't need a license.
No.
10 years is the,
Drive your ATV 45 miles an hour on 5 miles of public road without a license.
Yep.
And you think that's a good idea?
Well, it's not that I think it's good. I think that's all the state. We're doing this, and there's some towns that are completely open to traffic. I know, like the town of Heartland has like 85 miles of shared public roads access, and then is open.
But those don't necessarily allow people to drive right down the middle of the road.
They do, yes.
They do.
Yep.
Yes.
I believe you do need to have a driver's license to be on a public way.
Okay. Yep.
I know that the age is 10 years to drive an ATV. That's the minimum age. So it's a scary age to put on a regular roadway.
I'm sorry. Say again.
That's a scary age to put on a regular roadway at 10 without a driver's license.
I agree, and maybe the town could come up with an ordinance that comes up a limitation, maybe 18 or 21 or something like that. I don't know how you would enforce it, but I think that would be the only way for the town to approach that would be through some type of ordinance.
And is one of your arguments that the one reason we should do this is because people are doing it anyway?
Yes, it's already being done in an unsafe manner, and I think this creates some safeguards because of the amount of people who are doing it.
For me, this flow of traffic and the same speed, some of these ATVs aren't really controllable under those speeds, depending on who's behind the wheel.
Are you all set?
Yep.
Want to let other people have a chance to speak.
Thank you.
Is there any other person who wishes to speak for or against? Or we have you come up.
Thanks for holding this hearing, folks. Appreciate it. I've got a few things I want to say, but also I might have some things to add to some questions you've asked here.
Before you begin, will you have your name and where you live, please?
Yeah. Just for context, my name is Justin Stimson. I am the assessor that brought the letter on behalf of the Board of Assessors at the Forks, explaining the vote that we held, the straw poll that we held, kind polling the sentiment of our town, our plantation about this. But I'm here today as a resident of the Forks and a business owner in the West Forks, not in my capacity as an assessor of the Forks. Just real quick, to address some of the questions you asked, I'd just like to reiterate the speed limit reduction in general on the Lake Moxie Road is well supported, and that came up on numerous occasions at our town meeting that we held. Same concerns about the section that's 45 miles an hour being a little bit at the high threshold for some ATVs that aren't made to do that. And I think from the rafting community to the camp owners and seasonal community to the residents like myself that drive that road multiple times a week for a variety of different reasons, bringing the speed of all of the vehicle traffic to include the logging trucks, and until recently the heavy traffic for the corridor construction would have been well received and probably will still be. You mentioned some sheriff coverage, law enforcement coverage for abusing the distance, allowing Lake Moxie Road, but then folks taking an inch, or giving an inch and taking a mile, so to speak. The good news is we're at the ends of each end of Lake Moxie Road, the places that one would like to go when you hit that intersection are largely within the 500-yard statute already for allowable movement of an ATV on a road, right? So the gas station is close enough to where they could just go straight to the gas station. There's a good trail that gets you there. It wouldn't be necessary. The ball field, the parking spot, things like that. And the trail that runs parallel to 201 once you get down into town is well maintained, and there's really no desire to skip that, I don't think, anyway. So I don't see that. And I live right in town, right almost at this intersection. I can look out my window and see the intersection of Lake Moxie Road and 201. And in the past 4.5 years that we've lived there, I've been really impressed with the law enforcement coverage, to be honest, down in town. I do wish that more of it would be up on Lake Moxie Road to police some of the speed of the heavy traffic that goes through there, but at least on 201, the state's position on this. So if you want to see how the state would like to see ATVs using a road that has been granted by the appropriate municipal or county authorities, if it has become an ATV access route, you're looking for 13157-A paragraph H. And that's where the language is found that says that that ATVs should not impede traffic in any way, meaning with the flow of traffic, right side of the road, things like that. And then as regarding age limits, IFNW already has a statute that persons between the ages of 10 and 16 years old may not operate on an ATV outside of their personal property unless completing a training course and under the supervision and accompaniment of an adult. And they cannot be on a public way maintained for travel unless that crossing is in accordance with that subsection I just gave you, and it means the same things with an adult and with a proper training course. Because I agree, I mean, an 11-year-old trying to come down the Moxie Road by themselves is a little bit problematic to consider, but if they're following the spirit of the law that the IFNW has already placed, then they wouldn't be traveling alone anyway. They'd be with an accompanying supervising adult. As a business owner in the West Forks, my support of this comes essentially from my experience this summer speaking with ATVers. We've recently purchased the Hawk's Nest Lodge and Restaurant, which is about 3/4 of a mile at most from this intersection of Lake Moxie Road and 201. And as a business owner, always trying to figure out what's driving business and what's suppressing business. I talk to a lot of my customers a lot. I ask how the trails are. I ask how their days are going, and I'm a very present and hands-on owner where I get to know what people are doing and try to keep a pulse on that. And I was pretty struck by the number of people that came into our restaurant that said that they would love to come here, the Forks area, more often, but they likely would not because of the condition and the condition of the trail and the time it takes to get to the Forks proper off of the Maine trail system. The one trail that gets them down into town to visit our restaurants, our local store, our gas station, our parking areas, and things like that.
Can I interrupt just to ask you
Yeah,
for clarification?
Yeah.
Where are these people coming to go to the house?
All over. They're starting in Greenville.
No, you just said these people you talked to, where are they coming
Yeah, they're coming from Greenville, coming from Jackman if they go up and around, the Rockwood area, Bingham up and then down. So all of these different points of the compass
They're all focusing in and coming down the Moxie?
That's
Road?
correct. And Ben can certainly speak more to the
I
legit.
didn't mean to interrupt, so keep going.
Yeah, that's okay. To the geography of the trails, but essentially, yeah, almost all of these hubs of ATV and motorized traffic usage, they have to funnel down into town through this one trail, which makes it. And again, I'm speaking for Ben a little bit. He can speak more to it as a trail master, but it makes it extremely difficult to keep up with trail maintenance because all of that traffic isolates in that one trail coming in and out of town. Folks coming in, folks going out. So it's 2 trips for every single machine coming in and out. And then they disperse from there. They're going to Solon, Bingham, Greenville, and beyond, Monson, what have you. This one trail that exists now is kind of the only conduit to connect our community, very recreationally based community, to all of the other ones surrounding us. And we've watched many of these other communities move forward into this ATV access approval and succeed and kind of see a boom in business because of it. It's not just folks coming in and out. And again, I want to reiterate, it's not, I don't think the concern that I picked up on from the folks visiting on ATVs was not just because we like going fast, so we want to go faster. They're designing a day's ride around where they're going to get lunch, where they're going to fuel up, how much time, getting back before dark isn't important for people, right? And so without looking at a trail map, it's a little hard to explain, but when they come to that, that junction where they have to decide, do we go down in the forks to fuel up? Do we go down in the forks to eat lunch? Or do we just continue on to the next community where we know we can get in and out a little bit quicker? That's the decision point that they're meeting. And once they get down in there, to be quite frank, many of them wish they hadn't.
Because of the condition of the trail?
Right. And it
Do
took.
we have a trail map anywhere today? Anybody?
Yeah, we'll pull it up on a screen pretty easily, but
You had them in previous meetings, but I don't think I did another one for this one.
it just what would be a 10-minute tops cruise from Lake Moxie to downtown Forks, West Forks turns into a much longer proposition.
How much?
Ben, you could probably speak to how long it takes to get to that.
Yeah, primarily, if you're looking at the green side or the Bingham side, the Bingham trail system to get off very meandering, long way, and it dumps you out at Mossy, along the Chouteau Road. So it's adding, another hour and 10 minutes to get to town. So they don't have to, they can finish up the green and
I'm sorry, I didn't hear what you said.
It's probably about an hour and 15 minutes from the Bingham connection to us. So we're certainly trying to capture more of the traffic that's coming from the south that come into town. And even if the trail was improved to, which certainly can be done, to better standards, and we intend to do that, I don't necessarily think it solved some of the issues that are brought forward of why looking for open access. And that's because, some of the going under the power lines, no matter how much money we put into a power line, it's still a power line, it's still rough, it's still slow. And, I think a lot of times people will take the trail down into town, and then when they want to get out, they're looking at time, they're looking for a shorter path to go out. But also the people that are landlocked on this that cannot even get to that trail, it's the majority of the landowners on this road that can't get to it. And I'll pull up a map.
Are there situations in the state similar to a no-through trucks situation where the people that live on this road, they have the ability to use the road temporarily to get to the trail, but outside people aren't allowed to? Do you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah, to my understanding, the IFNW has the authority to do that on a case-by-case basis. I know folks that have, petitioned, local wardens to say, hey, I live, 1,500 yards from a trailhead. Can I have an exception to exceed the 500-yard limit to get to a trailhead or something like that? And they grant that. That's done on a very localized case-by-case basis. And in short, there are the landowners on Moxie Road, those on Troutdale Road. There's a big concentration of camps and seasonal owners up there. Some of which have said, "Listen, when we get on our ATVs and we want to go for a quick ride, get lunch or something, we're going to Greenville." And these are Forks residents who are choosing to go to Greenville because the access there is more efficient, better ride, and then when they get there, they can ride anywhere they want in Greenville on the road that goes through, on any road that goes through Greenville. And so that was hard to hear for sure, but those folks are important to me. Those are my neighbors I'm talking about, even if they're not full-time residents, I consider them neighbors. But as a business owner that's relying heavily on, the growing motorized recreational activity, especially those that are switching, we're all seeing the same winters here. We're losing snowmobile business. People are trading their snowmobiles for ATVs. ATV business is rising, snowmobile business is dropping. So we really need to make hay at that point. It's hard to hear people say they likely won't be back without something changing about the trail coming in and out of town. Doesn't mean everybody's going to do it. I think there are people out there that build into their travels the purpose of rougher riding. At first, when I started hearing this complaint from customers, I kind of my joking response was like, well, isn't that what these things are made for? And yeah, kind of chuckle or two, but a lot of people say, well, yeah, but we've got a long way to go. We could have been down into town, round trip. Let's just be conservative, 30 minutes, more like 20, 25 probably. But if they were just putting along 30 minutes, double that time to get in and out of town if they're on the trail. And it's again, it's not because they just want to go fast. They just want to build a ride. They want to design a day that they can feasibly do without breaking their backs and their machines to do it. But it's not just folks coming into town on the machines. It's something that's been overlooked in a lot of conversations is that the Forks and West Forks depend on people coming to stay in the Forks and West Forks. At my business, at the Inn by the River, at the number of lodges that depend on people being in-house. Those are people that spend money nightly at their restaurant when they're back for dinner, that pay for lodge rooms, and we all have parking for trailers and stuff. And the same people that are considering where they're going to spend, where they're going to anchor their week-long trip, or their long weekend trip, or even just their 2-day trip. Where are they going to spend the night? Where are they going to park their trailer? And where are they going to ride to and from every day? They're looking at these variables and saying, well, I could go to Monson, or I could go to Greenville or Jackman, where you can park at any one of their lodging locations and have an easy access to the rest of the system. When they consider the Forks, they go, yeah, there's great opportunities to stay, great parking, but the only way in and out of those accommodations is a pain in the neck. It's deterring people also from anchoring their trips in the Forks and West Forks. And as a business owner, that's why I support this, because I think if we continue to lose snowmobile traffic in the winter, and we don't welcome and create access for the people that are switching over to the summertime motorized activity, it's only going to get more and more concerning up there in the Forks and West Forks area.
I just had a question for you, sir.
Yes, absolutely.
Is there a trail from Barry's General Store to your facility?
Yes.
For ATVs?
Yeah, are you familiar with the location up there?
Yeah.
There is, yeah. So this is not...
Behind?
Yeah, so that kind of connects. So where Lake Moxie Road comes down, and then the trail that they would catch if an ATVer was coming toward town on Lake Moxie Road would be the bridge that crosses the Kennebec. That puts them at the ball field, is what we call it, parking area. And then from there's a trail that
Up the woods there.
it spurs out. So in the summer, the trail ends at the Hawk's Nest.
Okay.
And if you want to get further north on 201, you have to backtrack the berries and go up the hill. Yeah.
I know that was a sled trail. I just wasn't sure.
It is. In the wintertime, the trail crosses the road and goes up the Dead River, but that's closed to ATV traffic.
Okay.
On the interest of time, if you excuse me, I'm going to ask if there's anybody else.
Yep. Thank you for your time. Appreciate you. Oh.
And we'll just go for the 4 people who are in favor, and then we'll go to the people who are not in favor.
I'll go next. My name's Jimmy Doria. I own the Inn by the River, Three Rivers Whitewater, and I'm also a captain on the West Forks Volunteer Fire Department. One of the area's largest employers with just under 200 W-2 employees. And my business, Three Rivers Whitewater, takes around 5,500 people up and down the Moxie Road in school buses to go whitewater rafting. As I'll echo what Justin said, or I should say, my thoughts are to echo what Justin says with the Inn by the River and the businesses in town. People are trying to get into town and build their trips around the time that they go to a restaurant, and even people who are staying there are having a hard time getting in and out. So I won't beat that horse to death. Ultimately, I'd like to see the trail be improved. And to your point, not a lot of people do want to take their side by side up a road at 45 miles an hour, so they're not going to ride on the road. But having more options, I think, is important to get people in and out of town and to help the businesses in town. So, my thoughts are basically what Justin had to say.
Thank you for having 200 whatever employees in that area.
Thank you.
This is a copy of the trail plan that Dave provided.
Maybe a question for you, Ben. So feeding off of what Jimmy just said,
Where's the town?
I haven't built four-wheel trails, so none on the those other roads. There must be in certain occasions, you must do significantly different things to improve a trail so that it's more rugged, it's going to withstand the amount of traffic. Is that at least a potential part? So is that a potential partial solution, along with the people that live along the road also get the waiver that they can access the trail a little bit? You know, so I think looking for more different types of solutions in case we can't come to.
Absolutely, and we are dedicated to improving that trail system. It's a very important part to not just ATVing, but snowmobiling too. So the better we improve that whole system, the better off we all are anyway. So, and I did, in a previous message, I did mention the idea of if there was a way, and I wasn't sure if it could be just a local access only for the people who were landlocked, so to speak, that they had a way to get into town or whatnot. But improving the trail, we do put a lot of money into the trail system as a whole. But looking at different ways to fund that, because it is a capital intensive project. We're putting in culverts, hardening the what happens is we get a major storm. We're still recovering from the one from 4 years ago that wiped out so much of our infrastructure that we just can't get to it, don't have the funds to do it. But it's a very important part of it, and it needs to happen.
So without a map and not actually been on that particular part of the trail, somebody had mentioned an hour and a half difference. Maybe it's just because the trail goes way out and around and it's rough combined, as opposed to just taking the road cuts off at a time. Is there an option of changing the shape of the trail a little bit as well, or is that all private property?
All private property. We have attempted to try to do that. It would be ideal if there was an option for multiple routes.
Okay.
Can I ask about this map, which the so-called Tower Road, is that a dead end? I don't understand this map. From the ball field?
Yeah, the tower road, that's an ATV trail. This continues on.
Somebody said earlier that if you're coming from Jackson, you have to go down the Lake Mountain.
Yeah, some people come down, they go through a rock coming down this way, but Jackson has a direct route into both directions on this road here.
Okay, so we don't have to worry about people from Jackson.
No, it's Broadwood.
And if you're going from, where do you come in if you're coming in from Greenville?
It's beyond. So this is Lake Moxie here. Straight up, it takes a straight shot, and it's called the Shirley Coat Road.
So if you're coming from Greenville and you come to here, you have to do this to get to.
Correct.
And what you want to do is just go straight down. Yeah.
Happy up here.
And if you're coming from Bingham, you're coming up to Boise.
You're actually coming way over here up.
Where's the Boise?
Boise Road dead ends into here.
Oh.
The Bingham Trail is somewhere.
So a major problem from coming to Bingham is you have to do all this other trail riding before you get to this particular point.
Yeah, it adds a significant amount of time from
Which does?
the Bingham traffic to the ports.
Which adds the time to it? Just the
Both are challenges because the route that comes up to Moxie is a long route anyway, and then adding on this extra piece.
Are you advocating with the state that they just allow people from Bingham to come up to Oklahoma?
No,
You haven't done that.
I would choose yes.
Not there. Okay, thanks.
Effectively, all points east of the forks have to funnel into this trail.
Is there anybody in favor of this?
Can I speak?
Are you in favor?
Yeah.
Yes, please, go and speak.
I'm Dave's waiting too. He's a resident that's on the road. I'm Clyde Fowler. I have a business up there, and I have probably 5 places on the Lake Moxie Road that I own.
And you live where?
I live in Chelsea, but I have a business up there. so I probably 6 months a year up there in the Forks. I'm on the other side of the road where Justin's business is. I can see the bridge and where all the four-wheelers and stuff are, but I also am in Moxie Gore, right at the heart of it all, that I deal with for the past 20 years, loading up four-wheelers or side-by-sides on trailers to go from point A to B. So like if I have a guide business up there as well, so if I want to go set my hunters, I have to hook onto a trailer, put a four-wheeler on, a side-by-side on, drive to the top of the lake, unload, take everybody out, come back, load, repeat, end of the night. If you don't want to have that trailer on, you got to go drop that back off, grab it again, repeat all over again. Versus if this was approved, I could take 3 hunters, put them in a side-by-side, drive from point A to B, set them, come back to where I need to be. It eliminates all that time. Being in the middle of this, up and down that road, I mean, even if you could almost see the trail, you still can't do it because the locals actually obey the laws up there and don't press their luck because we know that you're going to run into the law, the wardens, the whatever. We're not the risk takers that do that. That, like they said, people like to come in by trail, and when they leave, they want to get out of there. For the past couple seasons, I know a group that comes from Abbott each year, and usually they leave a machine there because it's usually broken after coming through them trails. It pops a lot of tires, breaks a lot of A-arms. So when they say it adds an hour, it's not the fact we're trying to save the hour, it's the fact that your machines take a beat and come through there because as much as we fix this, as Ben said, it washed back out in these big storms. The roads are more flatter contour compared to the trails, so when you're going up through the trails, you've got all the hills that always wash out first and dig up. So there's so many factors to this. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but it's repeating some of the same stuff. But the fact that I've lived on that road for the past 20 years, and I've deal with all this stuff. I'm for the four-wheelers and side-by-sides going up and down it. I take motorcycles up and down that with 2 wheels. There's no risk. And as you stated, no one wants to go 45. You don't have to go 45 because it's posted. I believe it can go 10 below or whatever. So you could do the 35 without changing it if you really wanted to. But I would be for changing it to 35 regardless because it would help that whole road in general. So, we don't face all these trail things that other people do. Like he stated, some towns have 85 miles. We're 5 miles and it's a one-way in, one-way out. You already got to come in and leave from there with four-wheelers. We'd actually be reducing a lot of the turns. When you naturally come off and onto the Lake Moxie Road, it's a straight shot down into town with one turn. The way they have it set up now, you come in, you have to turn. So you'd have to come to a stop in the traffic, turn left onto the Boise Road and take the trail that comes around. Then you got to pop back out onto the Moxie Road. So you're making 2 spots where you could just naturally flow down through, which to me is safer than turning once and coming off and then coming back into traffic because the trail comes off the sides of the road. It doesn't just run down the road. So there's several factors to up there. That could be safety reasons or...
I want to hear from other people before we go back to you.
Yep, and Dave's a good one. He's been there for 28 years. He's been longer than me, and he'll probably touch in on a few more things that be safety factors or helping the town. So... like I said, I wasn't trying to push it from a business point to say I own a lodge in town too, and yes, it would help me, but that's not where I'm coming from. I was representing it from a landowner on that road that is for the traffic of it going by and so forth. It's a good opportunity for the town as well. So that's all I had to say.
Is there anybody who has not spoken yet that is in favor? Yes, sir.
How we doing, gentlemen? My name is David Greenlee. I live in West Gardner. I spend 3 seasons at the Forks on the Moxie Road, and I've been there for 27 years. I started four-wheeling up there back in '86, so I've been doing this for a long, long time. And the thing is about coming down this road, I'm older now. I used to be young doing this, old like these gentlemen are. We go four-wheeling, and you get beat up. The older you get, the worse it gets. We had, I think, 80-some-odd people in our club. I used to be the trail master. My wife was the president up here back before he took over years ago. And we'd go riding with all these people. Older couples would come in and join the club. We used to go up there every weekend. We'd go riding and have a great time. But it got to the point where the trail, this particular trail they're talking about that goes somewhat parallel on the Moxley Road, it's very rough. It's in the side of a mountain. The path is really bad. And every year we'd go in there with an excavator, or I would, and a couple of my friends, we'd all up there and do that work. And we'd try to clean that thing up, straighten it up. Well, come spring, being on a mountain, all that snow and everything's coming down over the washout, the trails that stove all the pieces, and they're worse than they were the year before. And, I mean, to fix that trail, what you got to do, you got to spend some mega money to make that so that it's passable. And these people that rode with us said, David, we don't want to go there anymore. You know, we can't. I mean, when we get home, we're resting up for 3-4 days because we had to get out on that trail. It's that bad. I mean, that's hurting these older couples that want to go out. They retire, they enjoy, buy a four-wheeler, they want to have some fun, which they should. But doing trails like that kills them. And that's really the only way into the forest, unless you want to drive to Jackson and come back down for 4 hours to get there. I mean, I don't think that's what any of them want to do. But younger people, they'll make the big move. They'll start in Jackson. They'll come all the way down through. They'll cut across, go up the backside of Greenville into Rockwood and all the way back to Jackson. But that's for the younger guys, and they run the rougher roads. It's a lot of older people that want to enjoy this ride, and they can't do that. Now, as far as the speed limit, I live exactly halfway across this road. And just before my house up there, the speed limit before that is 35. Then there's a long, and it's got a couple of curves in it, but it's not ridiculous. You can see around every single one of them. You know, it's not no blind curves at all. And once you get to my place, then it's a long, straight shot for probably, I'm going to guess, a mile and a half, maybe, or something like that. And it's nice and straight, and that's where it goes 40. Then it goes right back down to 35 again before you get into the Troutdale Road. And I just think it'd be very nice for people to be able to use that, you know, to have access to that road to get down.
You live on the Moxie Road?
I do, halfway, right in the middle.
And we've heard that people that live on the Moxie Road with ATVs just use the road anyway. Are you one of them?
No, I am not. I would make sure I couldn't do that. Believe me, I can't make sure.
So we're hearing that there's just a rumor but there's not a lot of law enforcement there, so people do that.
A lot of people do that.
And you'd agree with me, there's not a lot of law enforcement on that road.
I do see it go up and down. If I'm up there, like I usually go up for at least a week at a time, go home for the weekend, then sometimes I'll come up the whole week. I may see 5 or 6 sheriffs go by in that amount of time. You know, but probably
I'm pondering a question. If it's an argument that the fact that ATV people use the road anyway, regardless of the fact it's illegal because of lack of law enforcement, what are we going to do with lowering the speed limit? Who's going to enforce that? If they're not enforcing the ATVs, who's going to enforce the speed limit?
Well, I don't know who contacts who to do that, but I'm sure people probably call the sheriff departments, and then they do come up and want them to get
If an impatient driver in a regular vehicle is going up the road at 50 miles an hour, and he has to get right behind an ATV who is prudently operating at 17 miles an hour on the same road, is that going to encourage a lot of illegal passing or other unsafe conditions, do you think?
I don't think there'd be illegal passing all the way up to my place. The road is not straight enough to be illegal passing. But once you get to my place, yes, they could, but it is a wide open, long straightaway. And another thing about ATVs, this has been brought up a few times, traveling in the line of traffic. I think it's a very good idea. I think some people oppose it, but I've been doing this since '86. And the problem is, when you're riding on the side of the road, you get 2 tires in the dirt, you get 2 tires on the hot top, a little pothole, a rock, you throw something off, next thing you know, it's going this way and that way, and that's what causes problems. So you're riding with the traffic like they do all through Greenville and many places now. I mean, it's been getting more and more all the time. And if you're riding in the traffic, it's definitely safer. So, yeah.
Question. This is a variety of different traffic vehicles, cars, trucks. How much activity is there on that road for logging trucks?
Logging trucks, you see them early in the morning, and they're not that often. But you do see them early in the morning, because they make their early runs and they come back and they might do 2 or 3 loads a day. But it's not a lot, but you do see them from time to time, especially in the mornings. First thing is bright and early, they're on the road cruising. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank
And
you.
I'd like to hear from anybody else who has not spoken, who's speaking in favor.
I'm Dave Brown. I'm from West Gardner, but I also camp on Moxie Lake Road. I just wrote some stuff down. So my family has been there for 27 years. That is my father. And this is the residence that we intend to have in our family for generations. I am here today to urge the commission to open Lake Moxie Road to ATV traffic. Currently, the trails leading towards the forks are simply too rough, as you've been hearing, and too rough for people that I like to ride with. My parents, my aunts and uncles, my great aunts and uncles. It just doesn't go. So we do not ride to the forks. We go to Greenville, we go to Abbott, we never go to the forks. In years it's been. Furthermore, this change is vital for our local economy, for us to be able to have ATVs to go down, because with the end of the NECEC project that's going to be happening, those workers are no longer there. They're no longer bringing money into the forks for the businesses that are there. And also with the trail that we've all been discussing, that we do appreciate the Trailmaster and all of his efforts to fix it. With the Maine weather, these trails frequently wash out, creating never-ending costly cycle of repairs. Opening the road would provide a safe, accessible route for riders of all ages to reduce environmental damage and maintenance costs on the eroding trails. So I have copies of this, so you guys can have that if you need it. I also have copies from testimony from 5 more people that have camps on that trail that are for this, and 3 more that are right from the same vicinity. Thank you.
Is there anybody who has not spoken in favor? Is there anybody who has not spoken in opposition? If you care to speak.
Really would probably classify what I have to say as either for or against.
Would you please
be
state your
formal.
name and where you live?
Yes, my name is Chris Fife. I'm a public affairs manager for Weyerhaeuser. I live in Winslow, and of course, I think you're mostly familiar with our land holdings in Somerset County, Scottsbluff County. I've heard a lot of interesting and informative things today. It's obvious that a lot of thought has gone into this by the clubs and others who are making this petition. We work closely with these clubs on some of the trails that cross our property. As a landowner, we host hundreds of miles of ATV trails. I was not aware how popular riding asphalt is. That would actually be beneficial to us as a landowner. Just thinking forward, potentially if the more of the roads were used and less of the gravel roads were taking the wear and tear from the ATVs. But I'm speaking in jest. Really, we do work hard, and I think safety is the primary concern here for us. On our own roads, we work very hard to keep ATV traffic separate from log truck traffic. Log trucks, ATVs, sharp corners, it's just a recipe for bad things to happen that we're concerned about. I've heard that concern echoed by others today. Obviously, they are thinking about that. We do want to see the forks thrive. We want those businesses to be able to be successful, and we try to work with them to ensure there's access, or that we aren't a barrier to access, both for ATVs and snowmobiles, to be able to get to communities like that. But again, that safety issue is the one that we just have a really hard time with. That road is the access to our land around the Indian Pond Road. So that when we are logging in that area, that's when we would be coming down the Lake Moxie Road. I will say that it seems like the safety has been better with ATVs sharing the road than being on the shoulder. So maybe seems counterintuitive, but in those public situations where ATVs are using a roadway, being a part of the traffic pattern actually has made it safer, at least in slower speeds. I'm not an expert on that side of it, so I can't really speak to as the speeds increase or, the good question that Commissioner Sykes has asked about ATVs that aren't designed to go those speeds. So safety is our biggest concern. That is a windy road. It's a somewhat steep road, a narrow road in places. We would hate to see an accident between a log truck and an ATV because of sharing that road.
Sir, do you have planned cutting for the season coming up?
I am not sure. I can get that information for you, but I'm not sure.
Ben, how many miles do we share with the logging trucks through Wagner from Shirley? I know you guys, so I know all the areas up there, but we're already sharing with Wagner on the main trail from Shirley down to the Lake Moxie Road. So we're encountering log trucks and four-wheelers on that whole road. You're not encountering them so much because the four-wheeler trails, I believe, don't go up through your property up that way.
Yeah, I won't speak for Wagner and their policies. I know for us, for Weyerhaeuser, we've really felt like separating those as much as possible is obviously the best way to keep, to make that safe. The other thing that was brought up, and I just wanted to speak to, was the idea of registering ATVs as motor vehicles. I think that would be a very dangerous direction to go. Maybe not something that really is a decision of, obviously, of the commissioners, but if, in your thinking, that's playing into it. If ATVs become registered as motor vehicles, then landowners will have to reconsider what they allow access for on their property, right? And the fact that ATVs are ATVs means they can be policed and handled as ATVs in their own way. If all of a sudden they become the same as the Jeep or any other vehicle that has access on private road, private landowners are going to start to think about how do we determine who can actually access the property and use those roads. So that separation and that registration of ATVs as ATVs is actually, I think, a good thing and something that we want to maintain, not see that move towards a different registration system just because they're sharing a portion of a town road. So I'd be happy to answer questions. Again, we want to see this town be able to be successful. We feel like, this really is their decision. We just want to raise that safety issue, that safety concern.
I guess the general area of the trail system between Lake Moxie and the Kennebec area and the forest. Is some of that property Weyerhaeuser property that trail system runs through?
I don't have that trail system in front of me. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't work with that. Actually, I should probably answer that question.
I'm thinking about this. So this is government land. I wish we had it up on the screen for you to see it. So this is Maine state land here.
It's all Wagner.
This petite is that Wagner?
So I got bear sites on both sides of the town, so it's all Wagner because I lease off. I lease off you guys too, but both the pieces we're talking about, the Shirley Road and the Boise Road, that's why I was saying we already share it with the loggers because our main trail on the Boise Road and the one on the Shirley Road, right. Wagner is the one we have to share with the 18-wheelers with the side-by-sides. Weyerhaeuser, we don't unless it's a lot further south down towards like 16 and stuff. I think we have a lot of...
Are those roads public roads or private roads?
What's that?
The Wagner Road.
Wagner is private.
So those roads are all private roads?
Yes.
Okay.
So any place that they don't want side-by-sides or four-wheelers, we have the clubs label it with, we put signs at the beginning of every single one of the roads on a stake that says no four-wheelers, so they stay to we try to keep everybody going where they should be going. so we don't upset the private landowners, because they own a lot of land up there, so.
How many four-wheelers see those signs?
What's that?
How many four-wheelers see those signs?
You know, there's, I would say a lot of them, there are a lot of
Listen,
but it wouldn't
Yeah, I
get too
put it
bad.
on the road for everyone else.
So,
Could you leave a card? Would you leave a card for me?
like every single one of those private roads you're talking about, I got 46 of those roads in my bear site. So when you're on the Shirley Road to Boise, every single kicker road, I pretty much have the sites on.
I'm sorry, we're
Oh, sorry.
this is a public hearing, so we need to really
Okay, yep.
not speak out of turn, please.
He seemed to be listening, so I was
Yeah,
kind of
I know.
Sorry. We can talk after. Yep.
So, are you all set, sir?
I am.
Thank you. We're all set. If you're all set, no more questions. Okay, thank you very much. Has everybody had a chance to say, and there's nobody here who is opposed, except we only had neither for nor against. So, if there's you, Ben,
I just wanted to
I'll
make
give you the last word since
you left.
you're the applicant.
I wanted to make a distinction with what Clyde was talking about on a safety perspective of entering the trail. He talked about access on the Lake Moxie Road. Something I didn't mention earlier is that both ends of the Moxie Road currently have ATV access on them for about 500 yards. So the beginning of the Lake Moxie Road by the Troutdale Road, all the ATV traffic goes down the Lake Moxie Road for about 500 yards, then takes a left-hand turn onto the Boise Road, which is the trail, and then it dumps you back out at the base of the Lake Moxie Road, so you're traveling another few hundred yards at the base of the Lake Moxie Road. So, and then in the middle of the Lake Moxie Road, there's an ATV access route that takes traffic down to Lake Moxie Falls. So there's 3 sections of this road already being utilized actively. So all the traffic that comes down there is on this road in at least 2 sections.
Oh, okay. Because there's no middle section here pointed out as being on the trail. It just looks like it's a.
So right here, coming down here.
Yep.
This is the Lake Moxie Road.
Yep.
So you're sharing traffic already down to this point,
Right.
taking left, and then down here you're driving down the bottom end to Moxie Falls.
Just right here, though.
Just right
here to there. Yeah.
So this section here, so right in the middle, there's a
Oh, I see.
here, and then at the bottom,
Oh,
you
okay.
come back out. This whole section is part of it.
All right, I got you. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, can I ask some questions of the sheriff for this?
Yes, if the sheriff is willing to
Sheriff, can I
answer.
put you on the spot a little bit, just as a source of legal knowledge here? For an ATV, as I understand it, an ATV is not equipped with the same kind of safety stuff that's required in automobiles, is that right?
That is correct.
No airbags,
No way back.
annual inspections, not that I'm a big fan of those.
They have to register, and they register through through
Are they required to have their headlights on when they operate, do you know?
I don't know.
And if you're 11 years old, you can drive one as long as you have an adult sitting with you?
Right, you have to be, yeah, you're gonna be at 16 but you also have to have a driver's license to be on a public way.
Even for access?
No, so you have 500 feet, right, that you can go, but you need to be on, if you're on a public way. I'm not 100% on the access, but you need a driver's license to be on the public way.
Yeah, I always get confused with this because, for example, if the ATV is just crossing a road, I don't think you need a driver's license to cross the road because you're in an access lane.
Right.
But we're being asked to approve a distance on the Moxie Pond Road as an access way. So therefore, I don't think you do need a driver's license. I'm not sure about this.
I would argue that you would, but I'm not 100% sure.
Normal. And you don't need any kind of insurance for mandatory SR22 type.
No, your insurance expert is beside you, but
No, you don't need to have insurance to drive an ATV.
But the OUI laws apply to ATVs.
Yes, absolutely.
So if someone's enjoying some of the businesses in town and then driving home on the
And
on the road,
they're above a .08, yes, they are, can be charged.
That law carries on the trail the same as it does the pavement.
same as Somerset.
Yeah.
Thank you.
They should also serve people responsibly too. So keep an eye on that.
Okay, so, have your questions answered, John?
Yeah, thanks.
And you've had the last word. Thank you very much. I'm going to, without seeing anybody who has spoken in opposition, I guess I'm going to close this public hearing. Don?
Was there a reason we're not addressing this tonight? Did we say we weren't going to vote on this tonight?
We're not going to, no, because we're going to digest it. We're not going to shoot off the out of our hip. It will be on our next agenda.
And I have questions that can't be answered here that
Right.
Ben, I'm hoping Ben can just do a little bit of homework on. Maybe we can get some more information.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to close the public here. Oh, yes, sir. I'll let you
Just one
speak.
question. I just hope it's clear on this. I've heard a couple of times this gentleman's mentioned 11-year-old kids. I don't think, maybe the sheriff can help there, that an 11-year-old child can drive anything down the main road. You cannot, because when I raised our kids, whenever we come to situations like that, even crossing the road, we would stop, and my wife and I would rotate and put the kids on with us if we were letting them drive another one. So I think that's how it was always supposed to be done, and that's the way we did it. But I just want to clear that up. I don't think an 11-year-old can go cruising down the road, even if his parents with you. Once you're a little older, you have to go take I think it was a full-day course, I believe.
You do have to take a safety.
Yeah, the safety course these kids had to go through, and then they still have to be accompanied by their parents.
And they have to carry that permit with them as well.
Yes, absolutely.
But that's not. But I'm just asking questions. But they can never drive on the road, is what you're saying.
No.
But to drive on a trail, they have to have the force and the parent. And...
Yes. Yep.
The IFNW, as a guy in the IFNW laws a lot, so the IFNW summary law book is very clear about age restrictions and where folks at a certain age can and can't be on an ATV, supervised and unsupervised. I'm sure there's a paper copy somewhere.
And that's why we're not taking action tonight, is because we need to look into all these other aspects that you've brought up. Thank you. So at this point, I'm going to close the public hearing. Appreciate everybody's input. It's been quite enlightening. Thank you. So the public hearing is now closed. And we will go on. Is there any other new agenda items? Commissioners only? Administrators report? Thank you.
I'll just say, as people are exiting, there'll be at least a workshop on this at the February commission. Like Commissioner said, there'll probably be questions that we need to reach out to experts.
Thank you.
Thank you much, Madam.
Thank you.
Thank you. Chris, did you have a card? Oh.
Sometimes they
Other than my mind, I haven't watched anything recently. Don?
Just to add to the public record, Chris just told me that they're currently hauling out of that road, but he can't tell me for the city. Just so that everyone knows the information.
My report is brief. One thing, just as an upcoming agenda item, we had a placeholder in R2618 to promote a corporal at the jail. I spoke to the staff at the jail today. That process is still ongoing, so I recommend we just table that. They'll have that process finished by next meeting. They anticipated it would be.
I'm just going to strike it and skip over it.
Oh, okay. I want to give you a report to Dave Spencer, and I have been reviewing the bids that came in for road consultant. We made some progress on that, and I'd like to schedule a workshop on that for the next meeting, as well as to talk about what we found out, what we'd like to do going forward, our recommendation. I just happened to have time the other day, and I'm curious, so I wondered if the 2026 state municipal valuations have been posted, and they have. So Somerset County's valuation overall increased another 10%. So that's a 23% increase in our town valuations in 2 years. So like everyone else across the state, it's just what that does is it impacts the town's abilities, and it impacts their school funding, it impacts their revenue sharing. The good news for this year is if you look at the distribution of the assessment through the towns, it stayed pretty consistent from last year. The year before, we had a real problem with that, where a town like Maine and Madison had these huge valuation shifts. Even though the county budget was flat, they ended up paying more because their portion went up. So this year, I don't think we have that same situation brewing, so I think you're aware of that. In your packets, I put some information that Tanya from the Registry of Deeds provided. And there's a bill before the legislature, LD 2142, that the Maine County Commissioners and Maine Registry of Deeds are speaking against. What this bill does is try to access more of the 10% of the transfer tax that is in counties. Last year, the legislature approved a temporary bill that allowed the 10% of the counties to drop to 9.2%. For our county, that affects us by about $10,000. This bill that's currently before wants to permanently drop it down to 8.2%, which would affect us by about $24,000 a year. Again, of the $500,000 that the deeds registry takes in fees, $23,000 is not a big difference, but it's the principle. The registry of deeds does all the work, and they follow all the state standards that are updated by the state every year. So the state dictates what they have to do, but they're taking more of the way. Now, they want to focus on housing and unhoused people and so forth. By the look of the sponsors and look at the makeup of the legislature, this will most likely pass. So,
would it be, do you have an idea of the justification for stealing this money from?
well, one of the things that we've discussed in legislative policy committees is, can they account for what they're spending the 90% on that they keep right now? Because what they want to do is to raise, I'm going to sort of random number on $1 million to fund homeless shelters, and so that to help with the homeless issue. A noble idea, really cost, right? But do they have $1 million out of the 90% that they keep now that they could use to accomplish the same thing? There's this, the state does it with the jails. They don't do it with registry of deeds. They've been known to do this, and we had to fight with revenue sharing, 2 or 3 administrations. So
They're tithing us. That's what they're doing.
So you're saying they're not lowering the fee by 1.8%? They're keeping that 1.8%? That was facetious.
yeah, right. So
They're keeping.
the driving of the additional revenue has been driven by the prices of homes. When your average home sale was 200,000, nobody really cared. But now it's 450,000. It's like, ooh, it's a lot of money. The county's on the cost. So it just affects the property.
Just know that Maine sheriffs actually tried to put a bill in to give the county more of that money to offset rural patrol, and that's when we were told by people in Augusta that what they use that money for.
I mean, it's
your fault.
It's what's on the headlines. Housing is on the headlines. The housing prices. Everything else is pushed inside. In my opinion. In regards to jail funding, the Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee will hear the report from the County Corrections and Correctional Standards Council that I have to write, and I'll be giving testimony to that report on Monday. So very pleased that they want to hear more about the report that we did a lot of it. So that's what's going on in my world, plus having to the budget.
Tim, I appreciate the letter you sent to the towns for the town reports.
Yeah.
Because I think they should know what we do here, especially when we send them a big tax bill every year.
Was there room for the signatures as John had?
Well, I had some towns that were doing their town reports right now, so I've already sent it out.
Ah.
But I think in the future, we can try to arrange where, it's a little tricky on my part, like, if you want the signature of all the commissioners, or you want the signature of the commissioner for that town, that's a little heavier lift to set it up.
Heavier lift to have just a single signature? Or?
Yeah.
Oh.
So I look out whose towns and who's and who's.
Oh, yes. I'm pretty.
Then I have a big town like Thorntonville that never called me back, so.
Anything further? Okay, thank you. Finance reports?
Nothing really new to report on, which I guess is good news. We're still all positive. Each of the departments are running within their budget. We are gearing up, though, like Tim said, on the budget. We're getting more active, trying to get the first, I want to say, draft done by the end of this month, so that everyone can meet with Tim before he goes out on his safari. But so looking good, making headway in that. So no glitches yet. So the budget should be on time.
Yeah.
Health insurance, going good?
Health insurance, the actual process,
Change it over?
it is good in the sense that I got them the files early. They've been uploaded. I've visually seen everyone set up in the Cigna system. It looks like everything transferred fine. With the health, dental, I still haven't been able to do a census report, so I'm not sure if they've got that system loaded yet. But I've actually logged on to the Cigna as an employee, was able to access the cards for me and cards for the wife and so on. So it's getting there. The real test is going to be when people start filing claims after February 1st on what phone calls we get, what fires we have to fight.
Good to hear.
Thank you. Good question. Any other questions? Sheriff?
Just three things. We had our legislative, the MSA had the legislative breakfast last. I was voted in to be second vice president of the Maine Sheriff's Association. The big change for the sheriff's office in February, I wanted the commission to know that we're going to be doing active patrol 24/7, 12-hour shifts. So we'll always have a deputy out on the road. We're working through the logistical portions of that now. I hope to implement that in February. And the third thing is I will be accompanying the county administrator to the legislature. The report, really well written, it really demonstrates how the state's flat funding for the last 2 years has negatively affected the county taxpayer. And that's just one of the things in the report, but it's glaring, so it will cause conversation. So we'll be doing that. That's that.
When you said that,
Probably in February.
I was remiss, I forgot something, and just to share talking about that. So next Friday, the 30th of January, the Maine County Commissioners Association is meeting here in Somerset at the jail. So I'll make everybody aware of that. So I believe it's 9 or 9:30 start to the meeting, and there'll be a tour of the facility, there'll be lunch provided, and we anticipate a good turnout of county commissioners with that. So you're all welcome to
Is that scheduled as an all-day affair? Or?
I believe this is an Andre Cushing gig, so.
This is the annual meeting of all the county commissioners.
Yeah, but I would
But
say
we're
it's-
meeting at the jail. At 9 o'clock is for our insurance pool. Risk pool. That's from 9 to 10, and then the regular meeting from 10 on. There is lunch. If you are going to attend, please attend. Contact Lauren and say you're going to attend if you want to have lunch. So that we have a head count for lunch. You'll need to do that.
If it's easier, you can tell me and I'll know.
That works as well.
So it's probably a 9 to 2, 9 to 3. And the afternoon includes the children.
And we'll be voting on the officers and other aspects that is pertinent to all the county commissioners.
So is this how we?
And I want to thank the sheriff for hosting.
My pleasure. We should be working collaboratively.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Yeah, thank you.
So this is how we get our ADP blocking them in.
Well, that depends on how it goes. I do have room.
Sheriff, nice job on Sibley Pond, 2 miles from where my grandkids live. How much of that is going on? We don't know about right now.
There is a lot of that going on. Our detectives are doing a great job.
Quick list.
1.75 pounds of cocaine and heroin with
Is this in the paper already?
loaded shotguns and and
Got my gun.
yeah. Right up there, the person that is
Yeah.
They are amongst us. They're not from.
Are you ready for the report on firearms, or did you want to wait?
I apologize. That report is being generated as we speak.
We have another meeting.
I'll give it to the county administrator, and he'll distribute it amongst you.
Thank you. Dave?
I think it's pretty quiet. We did get the snowmobile grant approval for about $160,000 reimbursement. Tracking down a couple loose ends, a couple missing papers, but we're already approved. Otherwise than that, it's pretty quiet.
No snowmobiles through the ice yet.
Not that I've heard of. We had ice early, so
Good news.
it's thick.
Yeah, I was gonna say, it should be crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. No further questions? That's everything? Thank you. So we can move along to new business resolution 2617 to approve the recommission of the following correction officers at the Somerset County Jail. Deanie Waugh, Anthony McNally, Scott Libby, Joshua Hanson, James French, Thomas Crane, Shanna Brown, and Austin Ao.
No move. Second.
Discussion. All in favor? To go. Thank you. We're scratched resolution 2618, so we'll move to resolution 2619 to approve the recommission of Deputy William Crawford IV to the Somerset County Sheriff's Office.
No move. Second.
Discussion. All in favor? To go. No capital expenses. Unorganized territory. Resolution 2620 to accept the proposal from Calderwood Engineering for preliminary engineering and design services to replace Upper Sandy Stream Bridge in Lexington Township. Is there a motion to accept the proposal from Calderwood Engineering?
Is that in our folder, the proposal?
Yes, it's a. Unless you go down this road, we basically have a motion to say.
Yes.
I moved it.
Yeah, it's just a proposal.
We have a motion. And we have a second.
In your packet, there should be a 3-page document from.
It's under, is there.
On the table, you should have a map that identifies where the Sandy Stream.
Do we have bids on this and just having a?
This is something we've been working on for several years. Started out with bids. We had some work that was going to be done. It never got done. People kind of bowed out of what we tried to get done. We had a second meeting at the bridge a couple months back before the snow hit. 3 of us, Phil stayed on top of the bridge, but the rest of us went down underneath, viewed the damage to the metal, the structure, the rust, the The surface, concrete surface is in pretty decent shape, but what's holding it out of the river, out of the stream is a little shaky. So they said, basically, if you try repairing it, you'll be back every 5 years to do more repairs. So they're going to give us a quote on replacement. The concrete abutments on each end are good. We won't have to change those. So we're just going to do the span across it. We're going to go from a 2 I-beam bridge to a 3. So it'll be stronger, last longer. And this is basically Calderwood's engineering of the project. We have used them in the past on the 1.25 mile bridge on the Lake Moxie Road, and did a wonderful job for that. So we look forward to working with them if it's approved.
But,
Don?
oh, sorry.
Is this, just checking, if we approve the budget to engineer it, do we have the budget to fix it, to get it, to
Start
make
it.
it anyone?
We'll still be raising money. I haven't seen an estimate, but it's going to be very expensive. In the 27 budget, I think I put 200,000 in, I believe it was, but it will require more. So we may have to put it off a year or more, depending on how you want to raise the funds. We always have dip into if that was a decision, or we can just start budgeting. Because this year, like I said, for the budget that's coming up in 27, we did 200,000. But I expect this to be maybe upwards of, I would say, $1 million. That's a possibility. I don't know if it will actually be that high. I'm not any kind of engineer, but I always expect things to be expensive.
Don?
So as far as the bidding process goes, if we decide, are we going to put this out to bid, or is this sort of?
Yeah, this is just the engineering. This is not the actual construction of the bridge. The engineering firm is going to come up with plans of what needs to be done.
I'm sorry. Is this the only engineering firm that we've discussed this with?
The only one that showed up. Yeah, I think when we sent bids out.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Yeah,
Other people
yeah, we've actually met with these people a couple times over this bridge. So
I'll just add, I think that when you say it's been a couple of years that you've been listed on your radar,
yeah,
this may have been done before I was here or you were here.
Yeah.
That's why we don't have any recollection of this coming before this body.
right. This hasn't. This is, like I said, it's been several years. We've tried to get some engineer firm to come observe it. Calderwood's the only one we could get to come and inspect it. And like I said, we've done work with them, so we're happy that they're the ones that, get forward.
Is it currently got a restricted weight limit on it? Or?
Yes, 25 tons.
25 tons?
Yeah, which gets violated fairly often.
Where does the,
Tanker truck can get across there, probably tanker truck.
Tanker trucks, and when we're plowing in the winter, we're loaded with our plow trucks with sand, salt. They usually, the bridge itself is a single lane. It's a wide single lane, but it's a single lane.
where's the 41.5 coming from currently? What budget?
I would take that out of the bridge account as capital.
As capital.
And is that the account that you replenished with 200,000?
Yes.
So if this work is done, are you anticipating the engineering work to be done before the end of 26 fiscal year or into 27 fiscal year?
Actually, the engineering should be done this fiscal year. We have enough funds under capital bridges that will cover the 41.5. We have over $100,000 in the capital bridge account.
That was my next question, so thank you.
And my question is, how much in TIF would be available?
Right now, the TIF values are 800,000. Patrick sent out a paper for everybody at the start of these meetings. Has the TIF accounts listed there. We have 2 TIF accounts. Between the 2, we would have more than enough to replace the bridge if that was the route we took.
Hold on. Keep in mind, we have committed.
Yes.
Yes, we have 400,000.
We committed $100,000 to Gagnon for the fire equipment.
Right.
And we committed 400,000 in TIP to the UT budget that's been proposed at the state. So, I know that the money is replenished every December and January, but that's something that we have to ask Patrick to keep a close eye on, what our outstanding commitments are.
So I would ask for an opinion, and I don't know the answer. So, is it wise to spend 41.5 now for engineering if we don't know we have the money, or should we wait until the 27 budget when we have a firm grasp on what we are? Because we're spending half of our bridge budget now. So if we run into a problem this winter and we have a bridge issue, which we may, by the sounds of our the UT, so you said we have 100,000 left. And we're literally spending 41.5% of that budget on engineering for a project that we don't know we have the money for. I'm just asking, for your experience, is that a risk that we're okay with? 'Cause I don't know.
The thing about engineering is it doesn't get outdated. If we got it this year, it would still be good plans to follow, even if we had to wait a year or two to generate enough funds. I'm not worried about anything happening to any of our bridges this winter.
You're not worried with the 58.5 left?
No, and actually, I think the bridge account is 123.
Okay, that's cool. I'm good if you're good.
Looking at this map, I see what must be at least 5 other bridges on the same road.
There's one just up around the corner, and I think the rest are culverts. I don't think there's any more bridges on that road.
On the back road, I just see.
Yep.
Just look at the map here.
Yeah, but those aren't, they're not, they may be showing stream crossings, but those culverts, those are not,
Okay.
not bridges.
All right.
When this bridge is repaired, and you say there's going to be 3 joists across it, will it be wider to accommodate?
No, they're going to keep it single lane, mainly because of the width of the abutments on each end. I think those would have to be changed if we tried to widen the bridge. They're just building it a little bit stronger than the one that's there.
Right.
So this will just basically give us a plan for design for a new bridge,
Yes,
which we will shop around to a bridge.
right. We would put it out to bid. I could almost guess who would probably win the bid because they're local. But yeah, we put it out to bid and see who bid.
Okay, thank you. We have a motion on the table. Is there, ready to vote? Any further discussions? All in favor? Any opposed? Okay, we're good. Thank you. Turn this over to warrants. Resolution 2621 to approve the treasurer's warrant for general fund, sheriff, Somerset County Jail, unorganized territory, TIF tax revenue, and TIF community benefit for a total of $421,692.73.
We'll move.
Discussion. All in favor? Thank you. Miscellaneous discussion items, commissioners only. Nothing? Anybody? Okay, seeing none. Actually, take a little recess before our executive session. And we'll come back in 3 minutes.
Where do you think you're headed on the ATV?
Actually, while we're taking the recess, why don't we execute the documents this time?
Most everything that's, the first item, Commissioner Seaman, the first page is just for
I
chair, but that's also.
Which north?
Questions on this. I should have probably brought my phone too, but
I think they're coming out.
they want to do this.
Because it was for a quarter, it was a weird thing.
Where they want to do from here, they want to do this for a stretch.
They want to keep everything on top. Right. Come up, walks on.
Right.
All
To a
One of the questions, so when I call it on
You and I
it.
should go.
So this is Maine government land, right? I mean, and there's already
some of which is Maine.
so this is, and this is, it's identified on the app. This is wagon. Okay. So you've got, I mean, there's roads here. There's roads here, and then there's actually off to this point here. There's road. I measured it. There's less than a mile. Throws it out the window. Use this road less than a mile to improve, to cut this big chunk of it.
The advantage of the way it is now is Boise Road is a gravel road. It's very easy. It's only when they go this direction that they run into cars. And I think the rough section is right in here. I'm not an 18.
So the thought is, see, and you can barely see it, but it's road here too, right? So, I mean, if this could happen from here to here, and again, I'm just totally winging it, but then you've got just this section. They're going to be on page. Yeah, if you're able to do that, that eliminates this rough section, it eliminates this whole long distance.
Yeah. So they've already got some measures to use this and
Right.
thereafter from here is there for our approval.
Right. Right. So, I mean, if they were actually able to read or add to the system.
Yeah. That had to be built, so I don't think those roads so.
They don't totally connect, but so on the app, which is in the last, probably the satellite photos are in the last year or so. I mean, these are here, and it actually goes further. I mean, it's not straight, but you know what, whatever, you're on the freaking you're not. And then, I mean, there's plenty of road here too, and actually the road that comes off the hill. Where the, where the road, so this, you get this road, which is, and there's a little
Under the share.